And we are live, guys. Welcome to another live stream from Men of High Value channel. My name is Joseph, darling. What we want to talk about today is your empire. Do you understand that your empire is just a few years away? That is, if you actually choose to go straight for your empire first. Instead of allowing yourself to be distracted by the world, to be distracted by the girls, to be distracted by the porn, the sex, the masturbation, to not allow yourself to be distracted by the alcohol, the smoking, the drugs, to allow yourself to not be distracted by college degrees or trying to get educated in the old-fashioned slow way that doesn't work any longer. You have come to a new age where speed and trust is the name of the game. In the old days, if you're talking about the book Think and Grow Rich, in his chapter about sex transmutation, he explains that in those days, he did a 12-year study about 25,000 people. And according to his understanding and what he saw was that seldom, very rarely, did people succeed before the age of 40. If you've read the book, you remember that section. And he says sometimes it takes until they're 50 years old. And that was basically identical for all successful people. Now, I have an explanation for that one, and I can give it to you right now, and we'll get back to the empire part. Back in those days, there was no such thing as porn. Back in those days, there was no such thing as getting married in your late 30s. If you were 30 years old and not married, you were a menace to society. Things are different today. In those days, you got married in your early 20s and immediately got children. Like me, the old-fashioned way. And what did they do? They basically struggled in their marriage. They struggled with semen retention. Because when you get married, then suddenly you can now spill your seed. And then they basically could not get traction on their careers, but they were slowly but surely building their network and their understanding and their skills. And then it basically took until the time when the kids were old enough to take care of themselves. Then the man began to succeed. Also at that time, he now had come to a point where he knew he wanted to succeed, like for sure. At 40 years old, boom, suddenly his empire massively grows and starts happening exponentially. We live in a different age right now. We live in an age where a 12-year-old has access to this phone. And at any moment in time, with the push of a button, he can see naked girls. Immediate gratification. Back in those days, you had to work. You had to prove yourself worthy. You had to be trusted by your father-in-law or your potential father-in-law. In this day and age, you don't even need to get married to have sex. The girls are so much easier to sleep with these days than they were back then. So there's no need to get married at this point in time in order to get sex. That can be an obstacle for most people. Why is it that only a few people actually succeed in the system we're living in today? It is basically because these guys have an obsession that's more powerful than their desire for women. They have an obsession about riches and about wealth and about their projects that is intense, that is obsessive, that they think about day after day after day after day, and they don't really care about the women because they know that the women eventually will come eventually. But if you're an ordinary guy, you don't have that obsession. An ordinary guy who lived a normal life growing up, and you got access to this one. Porn, masturbation, and orgasm. Ejaculation. That, in my opinion, is the one thing that's stopping young men today in building their empires in less than 2 to 5 years. Because that's really all it takes, guys. It's really all it takes. If you've got a mentor, 1 or 2 maximum mentors that you follow in their footsteps and learn everything there is to learn on the subject that you want to complete in order for you to start establishing your empire. Girls, porn, masturbation, immediate gratification, all those things, partying, late nights, being out in the club on the weekends. You don't need it. And if you do need it, you're basically sacrificing your entire future self by putting yourself in a situation that you need to work continuously for many, many, many years until you eventually, okay, well, now I want to start establishing my empire. Why don't you just establish your empire right now? Why don't you just establish your empire first? The women will come later. Or if you're a family guy, the woman of your life and the amazing kids that you're going to have are going to come later. This is the time, I'm talking to you young guys now, but also you older guys that haven't got your, stuff in order. But you young guys, how about you establish the empire first? And your empire, you know how it looks like. If you don't know how it looks like, then you need to start writing it down right now. But you know inside how your empire looks like, what result you personally want. And I can tell you right now, if you manage to put away the distractions just for a period of time in order to give yourself a chance to succeed, you are going to be light years ahead of the rest of the population. Literally. How do you do it? My suggestion is semen retention. Semen retention where you don't ejaculate. The first month you're going to struggle and be horny as heck. After that first month, your systems are going to normalize and you're not going to be anxious or depressed or all over the place and distracted. You're going to be able to now, instead of being distracted by women, girls, and porn, you're going to put yourself in a position to succeed and prepare yourself now to actually succeed with your empire. But first, you got to get rid of distractions. You got to simplify your life and make room for you to actually become obsessed about something else. While the motivation and the sex drive is building within you, but without the focus on the girls. Focus on your empire. You. The best investment that you will ever do, the best stock that you ever will invest in is your own personal self. Forget about everything else. Start investing in yourself. Invest time and money in you, in your learning, in your education, in your understanding of the world and business. Once you start taking yourself seriously and your empire seriously, everything changes. Let me tell you 2 stories. I've got 2 colleagues of mine, great guys. One of them is just massively distracted. He just has so many different projects, so many different things that he needs to get done that basically it's taking him 5 times longer than necessary to accomplish his goals. Why is he distracted? I'll tell you, one thing that is definitely not helping is his porn and masturbation distraction. He's working on it right now, but he keeps failing. Why does he keep failing? But if he manages to succeed, if he manages to overcome that one, there will be no more distractions in his life. He's going to be able to take care and handle everything else and simplify his life if he can just master that one thing. Story number 2. I have a guy who has a fantastic business opportunity right there in his lap. He's been working on it for 2 years, but he keeps sleeping around with girls. And he keeps, going clubbing once a week because he needs to relax, because he gets tired, because it's a heavy-duty manual job that he has. And I'm telling him, the reason why you're tired is because you're not performing semen retention. Is because you're not keeping that in. You would have massive motivation, you would have massive drive, and you would actually get things done. And he's like, no, it's the women that actually keep me alive. It's the women that fuel my motivation. Yeah, but then why aren't you motivated? Why are you tired? It doesn't make any sense. If you keep on doing these women, no wonder you're tired and not motivated, because you're wasting your sperm. And you're not focusing on building your empire first, which is key. If he had focused on semen retention, let go of all the girls just for a period of time. He wants me to teach him more about girls and teach him more about how to retain a woman and so that he can create a family and be happy just like me. And I'm like, yeah, I'm not going to train you before you actually perform semen retention, before you actually take that part of your life seriously, so that you don't get distracted by women. If you can learn that skill this early in your life, your whole life changes. Everything changes. Because you'll be 40 years old and your empire will have been established, and you'll have set certain standards in your life that you don't deviate from. This is why I focus so much on semen retention. This is why I focus so much on simplifying your life. Get rid of the distractions that are destroying your long-term success. This is not about just overcoming semen retention. It's about preparing the way for the result that you want to have done. Build your empire first, guys. There is nothing more joyful than being in a situation where you've got your finances in order, you've got your health in order, and then you meet the woman of your life, and she's passionate about you and about your mission in life, that she says, yes, please, I want to ride on this one. And you can say, let's go, baby. Let's make it happen. This is the Men of High Value channel. My name is Joseph Darling. I'll see you again tomorrow.